Welcome to the Morgan Library. My name is Miss Lindsay, and welcome to another Teen Talk Tuesday. Now, before I start, I want to give a brief warning that the book I'm about to read has mentions of depression and suicide. In the book, The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. Here we go. If I should see a single bird. Emily Dickinson. Chapter 1. My mother is a bird. This isn't like some William Faulkner stream of consciousness metaphorical crap. My mother is literally a bird. I know it's true the way I know the stain on the bedroom floor is as permanent as the sky. The way I know my father will never forgive himself. Nobody believes me, but it is a fact. I am almost certain. In the beginning, that mother-shaped hole was made of blood, dark and sticky, soaked to the root of the carpet. Over and over again, I rewind back to that June afternoon. I walked home from Axel's just in time to see my father stumble out onto the porch, clearly looking for me. I'll never be able to erase that image. His hands, slick and shaking, maroon smeared across his temple, chest heaving like it was iron fillings getting sucked into his lungs and not air. At first, I thought he was injured. Leah, your mother. He choked on the sentence, face puckering into something awful. When he finally got the words out, his voice crawled through an ocean to get to me. It was a cold, cerulean sound, far away and garbled. I couldn't process what he said, not for a long time. Not when the police arrived, not even when the people came to carry my mother's body out the front door. It happened on 2.5's day, our day, what had become an annual tradition for me and Axel. It was supposed to be celebratory. The school year was almost over, and things were finally going back to normal, even with Leanne in the picture. We were already making plans for the summer ahead, but I guess the universe has a way of knocking supposed tos right on their butts. Where I was that day, on the old tweed couch in Axel's basement, brushing against his shoulder, trying to ignore the orange wall of electricity between us. If I pressed my mouth to his, what would happen? Would it shock me like a dog collar? Would the wall crumble? Would we fuse together? And Leanne, would she disappear? Could one kiss erase her? The better question was, how much could it ruin? My mother knew where I was. That's one of the facts that I still can't get over. If I could have climbed out of my freaking hormones just 1 minute, maybe my neurotransmitters would have signaled for me to go home. Maybe I would have shaken off my blinders and forced myself to take count of all the things that have been off kilter, or at least noticed that the colors around me were all wrong. Instead, I withdrew into my shell, let myself be one of those self-absorbed, distracted teenagers. During sex ed, our teachers always made it sound like the guys were the horny ones. But right there on that couch, I was certain that some crucial detail about the female body, or at least my body, had been left out. I was an already lit firework, and if Axel came any closer, I was going to barrel into the sky and rain back down in a million pieces. He was wearing the brown plaid that day. It was my favorite of his shirts, the oldest and softest against my cheek when I hugged him. His body smells waved over. The sweetness of his deodorant, the smoky floral of some other product, and beneath all of that, a scent like the quiet grass at night. But in the end, he was the one to take off his glasses and kiss me. But instead of bursting into sparks, my body froze. If I shifted a millimeter, everything would break. Even thinking that word, kiss, was like touching an ice wand to my chest. My ribs seized, freezing solid, and spiderwebbing with cracks. I was no longer a firecracker. I was a thing frozen deep in the Arctic. Axel's hands stretched around my back and unlocked me. I was melting. He had released my wind-up key, and I was kissing back hard, and our lips were everywhere, and my body was fluorescent orange. No, royal purple. No. My body was every color in the world, a light. We'd been eating chocolate-covered popcorn just minutes ago, and that was exactly how he tasted, sweet and salty. An explosion of thoughts made me pull away. The cloud of debris consisted of remembering that he was my best friend, that he was the only person I trusted 100% besides Mom, that I shouldn't be kissing him, that I couldn't be kissing him. What color? Axel said quietly. This is the question we always ask to figure out what the other person's feelings. We've been best friends since Mrs. Donovan's art class, long enough that that's all we need. One color to describe a mood, a success, a failure, a wish. I couldn't answer him. I couldn't tell him I was flashing through the whole spectrum, including a new dimension of hues I never experienced before. Instead, I stood up. Crap, I breathed. What? He said. Even in the dim light of the lone basement bulb, I could see how his face was flushed. My hands. I didn't know where to put my hands. Sorry. I have to go. We had a no bullcrap rule with each other. I kept breaking it. Seriously, Leia? He said. But I was already running up the stairs, grabbing at the rail to pull myself up higher. I burst into the hallway outside the living room and gulped down breaths like I'd just broken the surface after the deepest dive. He didn't follow. The front door slammed as I left. Even his house was pissed at me. The sound rang out puke green. I thought of the hardcover of a book slamming shut on a story that wasn't finished. And that was Chapter 1 of The Astonishing Color of After. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.